Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Jane Movies. So awesome. I'm Joe.
I am Won-Jin.
Today we are going to talk about Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve. I'm sorry, I don't speak French well.
Villeneuve.
Mm-hmm. Full spoilers for Dune Part 1, which came out 3 years ago, and Dune Part 2.
And also the future Dune.
And the future Dunes, because I have read 4 books out of, I think, 6. And I will give you some comparison as well during. And big shout out to Kayla Marie. Big shout out to Zedzi. Big shout out to Scott Walker. Big shout out to Ichan Hong. Big shout out to my wife. I cook
for my wife.
Here we go.
Okay.
So, let me go first, Won-Jin. I love the Dune Part 1. So I think we were both very excited for this to come out. And then it was one of the few movies that, wait a minute, Scott Walker, hey guys, how you going today? It's all right, we can talk about McDonald's.
Screen movies.
Let's do that after this one, Walker. We're going to focus on Dune Part 2. So let's have a little chat session after this. So let's do that in about 30 to 40 minutes. But Dune Part 2, I felt like McDonald's. My thought, help me, when do you go?
Well, if I pick it up from there, it was one of the most highly anticipated movies last year, and I was so bummed out that because of the strike, the screenwriters and the actors, they were on the strike. It got delayed to 2024. But I can definitely say that yes, it was worth the wait. And after having seen the first part of Dune movie by Denis Villeneuve, I actually wasn't too concerned about the quality that he would bring with Part 2, because when you look at his filmography, you can tell that this guy is kind of a perfectionist. He has so much attention in every detail of his movies. We've seen it in Sicario. We've seen it in the sequel to the Blade Runner. What was it?
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, I always get confused by the number. Anyways, and he, again, with Dune Part 2, delivers, and it was 3 hours long. The movie actually felt like 2. It felt like 2 hours. Some movies, they're 2 hours, but they feel like 3 hours. This is completely the opposite. And I was actually hoping that it would be longer. And now I'm kind of wishing for like a director's cut. If there is one.
So all that to say, it was fucking amazing. Oh my God, 2 hours and 45 minutes just flew by. The actions were crazy, man.
Oh, yes.
Like none of that stuff is in the books. Like the first hour, like I love the first hour and 30 minutes more than the last hour, though. What about you? Because I felt like, it was still good, but I did feel like a lot of things were kind of fast forwarded a little, like near the midpoint.
Yeah.
But the first part was amazing in that it definitely sold us on the Fremen culture, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like from that, one of the great scenes was when Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem, takes Jessica down to this water tomb where it turns out they have this like
a pool of water
from dead people, and it's like a shrine, like this quasi culture thing. And when Jessica cries for these poor souls,
he's like, no,
waste the water, don't waste your water. And there were these small details too, where one of the best thing I did not get from the book, but I got it from the film, was when they were sapping water out of the Harkonnens. That was like terrifying.
It's full of chemicals, so we're just gonna use it as coolant.
I was just like, so refrigerators and whatever. And man, the action scenes were amazing.
Yeah.
Not just like, you can tell like Denis Villeneuve, like, no, I can't tell. this is what I imagined to be. Then even was like, the first one made it. Okay, studio, are you good? Are you good? Okay, now I'm gonna do what the fuck I want, bitch. And then just like, fuck yeah.
The studio was like, here's a blank check.
Yeah,
go crazy, Denis.
This is all I actually wanted to do. So that's why we titled it Alien and Alien 2, because like Alien, the first one is like, this is what Alien is. There's this weird creature, and this is Sigourney Weaver. Here we go. And the second one's like, okay, let's put double X to that.
Let's bring like an army of aliens.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And now we get these like Fremen action scenes that were made like. And what's great about, you mentioned this in the first one, is like how even the most inconsequential like action scenes or scene has these artistic touches.
Yeah.
You know, one of the best choices was you know the Harkonnen gladiator fight? Those like fireworks were amazing.
It kind of felt like an ink blob.
Yeah.
Like diffusing in water.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really strange.
It also reminded me of the Rorschach mask.
Yeah.
Kind of breaking down. And there was this whole atmosphere to everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
So that thing was supposed to be like festive, but as an audience, we don't feel festive at all because it just feels so bizarre. And I think that's
I did feel festive, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was very bizarre.
No, but don't you think it was amazing how the crowds all does the Nazi, like their own Harkonnen salute thing, and like there's like millions of them, literally.
The stadium is so massive, and even the way those Harkonnens look, they're somewhat bizarre. The way they look, and I think that really aligns very well with the overall Harkonnen theme.
They're black and white thinking.
Yeah, and
either you're with us or against us.
All black. Yeah, and even the fireworks isn't colorful.
Oh, but the great addition that is not in the books is Feyd-Rautha has these cannibal girlfriends, like 3 of them with the. Remember those black teeth we saw from the
blue-eyed samurai?
Yeah, the Japanese and Asian culture that like tinge their teeth black, and they were like, I was freaked out when he just killed the guy and said, "Make sure you get the internal organs. My bitches need snacks." I was like, "What? What the fuck?" And like, and Feyd-Rautha is like, you know, the funny thing is in the book he is important, but like he's described as beautiful, but all this stuff is like Denis. So, like. It was amazing seeing him like that. He had such charisma.
Yeah.
Because one of the great like editing choices, I feel like we spend so much time in the Fremen world for hours straight, right? There's like no in between.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we jump to Giddy Prime, and then we get him, and then it was such a great way to just. It could feel like segmenting, but I thought it was very effective to show how much of a danger he is. Like he just comes out. And then there were some great choices in the first hour and 30 minutes, especially, I felt. Yeah. It was so strong.
And it overlapped with the image of Feyd-Rautha played by Sting in the 1984 film.
You think so?
Yeah, because in that film, he was depicted, I mean, I got the impression that he's just an asshole who's good looking, a good looking asshole. But in this movie, I really get the feeling that this guy's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
even and in addition to the looks, you can feel that there's something dangerous.
And there are a lot of things in this movie that get inspiration from the books, but they don't explain it to make it more twisted. You know how like when Baron Harkonnen is mad and we hear these like children screaming. Yeah, because in the book it's actually pretty. I mean, in the book, it's like indirect too, but it's implied that he loves like doing little boys. So there are these great moments where, what's the expression? Less is more. Where we kind of get these hints of these like sick things going on.
I love how Frank Herbert. I mean, I haven't read the book, but based on the movie, I love how what's his name, Baron Harkonnen, has no other dimensions. He's just a sick fuck, and that's it. He's just despicable all the way through and through.
No, but he is like a plotter, though, because even in this movie, we see that he intentionally didn't drug one of the gladiators of Atreides, and that's directly from the book, guys. By the way, and like Feyd-Rautha does defeat that guy, and because in the books it's implied that these Harkonnens are always trying to kill each other, and I love their depiction, and I mean, and the weird thing is, I guess we guessed this, but since it's Dave Bautista playing Rabban, he does get more screen time than even in the books. Because in the books, by the way, he gets like an off-screen death in the books. But here, he even gets that, all that crap. Like it was such a great thing. Oh, what's up, ZZ? And another great surprise for me was Zendaya. I loved how Chani is such a major character in this movie. Like, because, one of my favorite scenes is when Chani and Paul does the crip walk together in the sand.
Oh.
And that's when, like, I thought that was such a great visual way to show us that they're going to fall in love. Or they are already falling in love. And then, like, by the time they were sitting in the sand, all Lion King like, and
can you
and Chani kissed Paul. I was like, yeah, I'm sold on this love. You guys love each other. But one of the great thing was how Chani was like depicted near the end as opposed to Paul's tyranny. It's like a setup that way. I think they're preparing for the next film.
Yeah, and just to cover the latter half of the movie, I thought the pacing was a little quick there. Like the moment where they were all like getting along, and then all of a sudden she kind of gets angry at Paul.
Oh, you thought it happened so abruptly?
Yeah, because not the relationship breakdown, but it's Paul's decision to go to that temple place and drink that the worm juice. That I did not understand why. That was too quick. I was wondering like what was going through his head to go there and drink that. Because they were all riding on the worm, and then he just deviates from the path. And it just happens within like the next 7 minutes. All of it. And then he suddenly becomes like a tyrant. So yeah, that was a little abrupt for me.
Well, not necessarily.
So that's one of the reasons why I kind of feel like there's something missing in the middle, and I actually hope that this would be like a 4-hour movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because in the books there is more of a build-up. Because as I have explained it to Won-Jin off camera, like here, Alia isn't even born. So you assume that after Leto died, it's like 8 to 9 months at most. Right, until like Paul does his revenge, but in the books it's like years, like at least 2 to 3 years, because Alia becomes born. So there is more like detailed explanation of what goes on and the build up to Paul accepting becoming Kazakh Haderach. But there are a lot of things that the movie does well. For example, the early scenes of all these movies are amazing. They're such a foreshadow because like. We start off with Harkonnens burning the Atreides soldiers' bodies, but one of the last images of the movies is the Fremen burning the Harkonnen and Stilgar body. So it's like the circle. Paul has just replaced the emperor to become another sort of emperor, and it's a huge hint at. It's really about the theme of tyranny and freedom, personal freedom, and Paul is this unwitting empire. But I think Won-Jin, you bring up a good point where you wish it was more organic, him like accepting that, because there is the Josh Brolin line where he says war is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of happens too fast where he suddenly accepts his destiny. There
should be like a little more showing us Paul like pondering the idea and like trying his best to avoid that scenario. I mean, it showed us from like Dune Part 1 and up until like the mid Part 2 where he refuses to be the Messiah because of the visions he saw. They built that up for like a movie and a half. And then he makes the decision to drink that in like 5 minutes.
As soon as the siege gets attacked by Feyd-Rautha missiles.
So I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Because Lisan al-Gaib.
Lisan al-Gaib.
Because in the books it's more convincing because Chani and Paul has a child called Leto, the son, and the son gets killed by Stilgar attacks. So there are more motivation for Paul to actually like take his revenge. So to speak.
In the book, does he also drink the worm juice?
Yeah, he does.
Does that happen after their child gets killed?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so that would actually make more sense.
Yeah.
It's more understandable.
I think that's the order. And because one of the things the book has an advantage here is we get inside his head. So like we know that he is having like a moral dilemma that he knows like he has to he knows that if he takes his revenge he will cause terrible things to the universe, but at the same time if he doesn't, like the people he loves will be harmed. So like there is and we also get the thought process of every character, like from like omnipresent omniscient, I forget the high school third person omniscient.
Omniscient.
Yeah, so like in the book it doesn't feel unnatural at all. But I think here, while the visual is liberating in the sense that I did not imagine like the Harkonnens to be that way at all. Like it's so weird seeing these like it looks like alien and human beings had sex and Harkonnens are the fucking...
They actually look like that the creators in Prometheus.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They kind of look like Greek sculptures.
I guess.
Yeah, they have that feel.
Yeah, I think they were going for like sort of this hive mind too, because like the Duke is sort of this cocoon, like this big queen ant, so to speak. But anyway. Oh man, but let's talk about the Sandworms, man. The Sandworm writing was fucking amazing. The Sandworm.
You know, we see similar scenes in all these different movies. You know, we always have this like young
dragon
boy
riding a dragon
that needs to tame the dragon. We've seen it in what's it called? Avatar. What's it called? The right Toruk Makto. Yeah, that's right. That rider thing. We also see even in like non-fantasies, you know, like pure science fiction, where these boys need to get into a robot that is seemingly like uncontrollable, but somehow because the boy has something mythical,
that's
or
a great
mystical,
comparison. Yeah,
they instantly have this like connection.
Yeah,
and it's controlled by only the boy. Doesn't listen to anyone else. They always have those elements, and this again executed it very well. I love the touch where they kind of, as a joke, say like call up a small one. Yeah. But then they have this like the biggest one ever, like this fucking huge worm like approaching Paul. Yeah. And then they actually start to get concerned. What if he dies?
The facial acting was great. That was one of the most great. Like it's like you're exactly right on the money. It's about it's like the boy taming the dragon. And we like the boy and the Iron Giant thing. But now that you mentioned that, I just love Javier Bardem. Of course, the Messiah won't admit he's the Messiah. And he's this like those things are not in the book. He's a very serious character. But I just love the little human touch.
It's like what is it called in psychology? Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. I'm curious why man can't be doing worm juice. I haven't read the book. I don't actually remember that because it's the same reason as like the Bene Gesserit only taking ladies. I don't exactly remember why, but something to do with
maybe it dissolves your testicles.
Yeah, but if you watch like the animation called Claymore, you know, like the warriors can only become female because the men can't hold back their desires or whatever. So I'm assuming it's something like that because I don't remember them explaining that part actually in the first book. But one of the greatest like scenes is like in the books too. Like they ride the Sandworm to the Emperor, but I just didn't imagine it that way. Where ooh, and the sound, and then the ground rises up.
And that was done so well. Like after watching the movie, you know how I felt? I felt like I had to get up and I had to dust off my clothes to like shake off the sand off my clothes or something.
Yeah.
I was like there, and he was so. I mean, Denis Villeneuve, the director, was so good at depicting the speed of these worms.
Yeah.
Basically, they're like express trains. And I don't know how they do it in the desert, but, you know, it's science fiction. Yeah, it just happens, okay?
Yeah.
But also, the sheer size of them is hinted again in the beginning of the movie where they get rid of the bodies. Man, that's some mafia shit right there.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way to get rid of the bodies.
Yeah. Stilgar was my favorite character. Yeah, he's still gonna be amazing. But you know, one thing I am sad about is Alia not actually being born, because as a joke, I kind of wished where this little 4-year-old Chucky just fucking like beats up the Santa cars, like jumping around like Goku, because that's what happens
like
in the book.
What we saw from Logan, that girl.
Yeah. No, but except this time it's like a 5-year-old, so it's even worse because there's this imagine this 5-year-old talking to you like a grandmother. Oh yes, I know that your grandmother did this and that, and then let's go kill some Santa cars. Because one of the funniest unintentionally funniest line in Dune is like they return the scout mission and they report that we bunch of Santa cars got killed by these grandmas and babies, and then like when they catch like Alia, they're confused that like she's a commander, and then like she starts like talking like a fucking adult, and everybody fucking freaks out. And the big difference from the movies and the books is it's not Paul that kills Baron Harkonnen, it's Alia. She does what's that poison needle called again? Yeah, she does that to him. Like imagine this little Chucky baby girl doing that to grandfather. So those are like that's one detail that but.
And that's probably why she will suffer later.
Yeah. And you know, I guess it would have been difficult to find, because think about like Interview with the Vampire, right? Even that child actor was still like sufficiently old enough to play a child who is like an adult. But I guess you can't find like a 4 or 5-year-old to play an adult, you know. So I guess there was practical differences to change that. But the changes was amazing though, because like that fetus and mama talking, none of that happens in the books. That's just like pure this film, and it freaked me out. Just like, yes, together. What is brother doing, Jihad? I was like, fuck. And then like when Jessica said,
you know what that reminds me of?
What?
Do you remember in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of the villains is like this like big ass dude with this brain in the middle in the belly?
Oh wow!
It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, it actually reminded me of like Rosemary's Baby, where like now they can actually talk, and it was so like hats off to Ferguson, because when Jessica said, "Let's go for the weak first. We must help your brother," that's like none of that is in the book. I was like, what the fuck? Like her change from and one of the best lines that I don't think is in the book is when after like Paul defeats Feyd-Rautha, Jessica and the great Reverend Mother has
they have this telepathic talk.
It's not really
like
telepathic.
You were on the wrong side and blah 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 blah.
And
blah.
I love Reverend Mother's line where she says, hon, there are no sides. That was such a poignant line because it goes back to the theme of Harkonnen takes over, but now it's Paul. So there's the cycle of violence and power. And it's a hint at what's going to happen in the next movie. If they do Dune Messiah, it really is a dirty political theme movie.
It feels like Bene Gesserit, they're the true winners of all this, because basically it's hinted through Paul's mother that people throughout the universe, they're being manipulated by this group of witches for millennia.
No, but like I know what you're saying, but one of the themes of the whole book and this movie is like plot within plots, but plots unfold. And look at how Harkonnen thought he was so smart. And then there are always this, I think Chani represents that, where there's always this element of unpredictability, the human will. Because, you know, it's to be human to say fuck it, right? Remember that that Hot Fuzz, the third one in that trilogy, where the alien's like, "Oh, humans, why are you this way?"
Oh, I forgot his name.
Yeah,
the really like goofy alien.
Yeah, and he's like, "Fuck you, because we like it." And it's like that rebel spirit. And I mean, and the Bene Gesserit failed because like Jessica was supposed to have a daughter, and she had a son because of her love to Duke Leto, and then that fucked up everything. And then, is it possible to kill Haderach? He who knows every future. To give you a spoiler, Uichanong, like his power is not godlike, like because
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was wondering, we talked this in private, but if he can see the future, why did he get stabbed by Feyd-Rautha? Like, fatally. He could have died. I'm like, okay, that's a little bitch ass.
No, but his power is more like Doctor Strange from Avengers. Because remember how his choice was limited too? So it's like that Greek thing where just because you know the future doesn't mean you can stop it, kind of thing. Where there are certain outcomes, but in the next movie, if they make the next movie, you'll figure out that his power is not unlimited. You know, his prescience have very huge limits, and that's why his sons does another crazy thing. But that's for a later story. And
and another scene I really like from the movie is Gurney, because the Fremen attacked this harvester that is obviously not Harkonnen. It's from the Atreides. I was wondering why that machine was still around, and it turns out it was Gurney, and he was still alive out in the desert doing like a smuggling operation. Yeah, that was an interesting touch. Yeah. Was that also the case in the book?
Yeah, he was
smuggling it.
Yeah, he was part of the smugglers. Oh, and then he actually gets more lines in the books. Like he's a very like prominent character. He's like that you know how in like old like Chinese romance, there's always this drunk happy guy who's like very loyal. Everyone likes him, but he has so much wisdom. He's like that. But I wish like. Now that I saw part 2, I wish they hinted at his story with Rabban, because in the novels, like he straight up says he used to be a slave of the Harkonnens, and that's why Leto saved him, and he has this vengeance against Rabban. But I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity, because in here he just fast forwards and Rabban gave me the scar,
and then also the death of Rabban is very quick. And I don't think it kind of delivers as much drama as it deserves. So, but it was still nice to see Gurney's face, and I also love his loyalty to the Atreides even after like the fall of the house. Because I can see like the Atreides flag on that sandworm in the last attack on the Emperor. That was pretty awesome, by the way.
I mean, but just the pure like scale of the movie just blew me away. Grandfather Lego to a nuclear bomb. That was cool.
That was like a Gundam moment right there. Like they opened this secret hangar. And there was this like state of the art like special Gundam waiting in the hangar. And it was like some like father or grandfather's legacy. It's like use this power. When blah blah blah, they're gonna say something dramatic. Like in the darkest hour, this will be your light, and blah 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 blah. And then one thing, and it was kind of humorous that it was a nuclear weapon.
Which
usually symbolizes the end of civilization.
I mean, and then there are like, in the movie, there are things that are explicit that in the book it's implicit. For example, you know how like that Bene Gesserit lady bangs Feyd-Rautha, right? In the book, it's implied that they banged.
But Leia Seydoux was like, this is what I got the seed right here. It's going to be a daughter.
And there's this count that is the husband of that Bene Gesserit, who's a friend of the Emperor. And he's actually a very important character later, but they completely deleted him. And I think they're trying to combine. They're either going to introduce him in the next one or make the Emperor do that role. Because one thing and another thing like that's interesting is like Irulan getting so much shine from this like Chani and Irulan getting so much screen time in this movie indicates that they are going to be they're trying to make the third one because they become prominent in the later book. Because in the Dune one, Irulan features near the end, but her main goal is she writes the...
Yeah, I was wondering why she was keeping that journal. Well, what was that for?
No, because in the Dune book, every chapter starts with her quote.
Oh, okay. So she's the
historical writing
who wrote, like, kept all the history.
Yeah, but we also read the novel version, so it's kind of like giving a sense that this is history already, and
it's kind of like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit.
Yeah, or
where it starts with the story writing.
Yeah, or Blood Meridian, where in the beginning they always explain something that's going to happen and then they show it. Or Edward Gibbon's Fall and Decline of the Roman Empire, where they always start with a little introduction, or in Korean, Keio, of what's going to happen. It adds to this sense of historicity, where this is like, oh, something that happened or something ancient, and it's really well done because it's the opposite of Star Wars. Star Wars is like, let's go. Here's like, grand history. Oh, Paul, there was this Muad'Dib called Paul, and then so it makes it more epic in a way. But she's interesting. But
I loved like Chani's facial acting towards the end of the movie, because there's like this disappointment and anger towards Paul, and just when we think that it cannot get any worse, Paul just like says, where everybody's in the room, that I'm gonna marry the Emperor's daughter. You can see Chani's face like, what the fuck did you just say? You son of a bitch.
It's kind of like a Twilight thing suddenly.
I should have chopped your dick off before I left.
Yeah. No, that's so like, no, but I guess like it was a great way to set up the conflict for the next movie. Yeah. Because Irulan and Chani's, they're gonna hate each other. So like that's like one of the huge plot line. Because without giving you spoilers, they don't like each other. And like the women play a more important role later, because Jessica continues to be a prominent character. And you know the Reverend Mother, the one played by what's her name, Rachel. What was her name? But anyways, the old one, the big one, isn't she the mother, like biological mother of Jessica? I mean, Paul's mother? No. Jessica is the product of a Bene Gesserit and Duke Harkonnen. And that Bene Gesserit is someone that we don't know. Yeah. Oh, I don't think it's ever explained. That she's not. She's just the boss of. She is like the boss of bosses of the great Reverend. And one thing that is a little bit like, you know how like the Emperor like looks at her and she says they are not lying. That's played more prominent in the books, because she's an automatic lie detector, and that's how the Shaddam Emperor uses her. But that scene was kind of, I wish we had more time with the Emperor and the bitch ass Harkonnens too. Yeah, that's right. So I'm thinking that maybe we could have still been happy with like 30 minutes more of screen time. Yeah. And then like Paul's line where I'm gonna do what the Harkonnen does, it's like a really explicit explanation of that theme. Because in the book, it's one of those many things that goes through his head after he finds out about his genealogy, because now that he has a Cataract, he knows. But in the movie, I think for thematic purposes, intentionally highlighted that to show that, you know, ask the audience, is what Paul does is it really different from Harkonnen? Like, okay, fine, Atreides have better morality, maybe they care about it, but in the end, Paul, one of the scariest lines from the movie is, send them to paradise. They don't expect, the houses of Lanzarote, they don't expect your ascension. Then send them to paradise. Like, what do you think that means? Like they go, they get on the boat and they head towards the great ships. Like, cause like billions die, you know? So like it's already, you know, I would put this like Dune somewhere in between Game of Thrones and Star Wars. But a little bit more towards Game of Thrones, because it's darker. Very dark. And Dune Messiah is only going to get darker, because you're going to start seeing weird shit from the universe. And every actors were amazing. Yeah.
even like the minor ones. I remember the Harkonnen messenger guy who's always like telling
Don't keep talking.
the Baron Harkonnen bad news, and I could kind of tell that he was kind of concerned that something bad might happen to him. Like every time he delivers bad news, you can tell that he's in fear. So that was a subtle way of showing the terror of the Harkonnens. All right. So Joe's in the bathroom. It is a great time to talk shit about him right now. Anyways, I haven't read the book, but judging from what I saw in the movies, I can tell that this is headed right towards a darker future. And I know like how the story goes because I know the summary of the book. And the feedback I got from many people who read the book is that it kind of gets messed up as it progresses.
What? I'm so sorry. I went to the.
I was talking about the book.
No, but this movie is very faithful to the books. It's almost so faithful that I think that's why Denis was very confident to add his own taste and different colors and interpretation to it. Like the Alia still being pregnant is a great example, and a lot of little details are a little bit different, yet faithful.
And, I love his like visual imagination about these like spaceships and everything. Remember in the first part 1 where the Reverend Mother arrives, we see this huge enormous ship in the fog, and it's this like big round. The ship itself looks like a small planet or like a moon, and we see the emperors, and I don't know what it is. It's like chrome plated or something.
Yeah,
it's gangsta. It's all shiny. Yeah. It's like a mirror ball. Yeah, and it's just so massive. That was a great way of visualizing these like super advanced spaceships. And I also gotta love this contrast between those like super advanced spaceships versus worms. No, but attacked by worms.
No, but the worms are dragons. But in this movie, they show that their weakness is water. Yeah, because
drown.
Water is gonna play a prominent role later. Because one of the things they're not worried about it yet is because the planet lacks so much water, right? But it's gonna be a problem when, let's say, somebody wants to kill worms. And that said, somebody happens to be, whatever, and then whatever, and whatever.
And we see in Paul's vision where he sees his sister. We see like the desert planet now has an ocean, and they were standing by the beach.
And I thought one of the things that I loved was I wish, how. Because the North and South division, where they're more secular, North Fremen are more secular, and South are more fundamentalist. That's all this movie, by the way. That's not in the books. But I wish when Paul had these visions of a lady heading south with these people starving, right? Because I first thought that was Chani.
I always thought it was his mother.
Okay, because so that's what I'm saying. I wish they did two images where one showed like her mother that way. And another way, Chani, because the reason why I said this is like Game of Thrones is because the moment Paul said, "I will never leave you and always love you," I was like, okay, so they're in danger. If I'm a regular guy, like, what, you don't need to say those things. But now that you said that, I'm kind of worried that you might not be able to keep your promise, because Paul becoming the prophet means that he won't be able to keep his promises. So I wish they had an image where it's Chani. I guess they did it in the first one, but maybe a little bit more.
I mean, when they do the ritual, they say that the old you kind of dies and you're reborn. So maybe that old Paul dies.
No, but I'm talking about losing Chani per se. Because when she goes south, it kind of implied that Jessica is sort of evil, which is not really the case at all. Because I felt like that sudden shift of Jessica being super gangster and let's go for the week was kind of undermined the first one. Because the first one was really about like them surviving together as mother and son, and I thought they had more screen time together, talk about it. But here, we only get one scene where that's not hope, and then like Jessica, she's like psychopath by this point. She doesn't even phase. Yes, but I will still go for the weak son. Don't worry. So that was kind of funny. Yeah,
I guess it's the worm juice.
The worm juice.
Because the same thing happens to Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes ruthless.
Not ruthless, but I guess less emotional because he still feels him because Then in the end, when Chani leaves, doesn't Paul look at her once or something? I don't know. I have to watch it again. But no, Paul is still very much human. And that is why the future of the books is there's a next step to that evolution. And I think the reason why Denis wanted to end it at the third one is because Paul has to make a choice. And he makes, I guess, the human choice. You know, and without giving you spoilers, but hey, what was your favorite scene, man?
My favorite scene was, I think, it was the final battle. You know, where we see like going all full nuclear, literally. We see those like 3 nuclear missiles being launched towards the Emperor, and I was surprised that they didn't aim for the ship itself, because I think it was the key was to capture the Emperor, and then it kind of showed the sheer size of destruction in the perspective of the Sardaukar. Yeah, we see those big ass rocks falling on the.
No, now that you said, you know what would be funny? Like, then he was like, "Fuck the books. If I'm Paul right now, why am I not annihilating people? Like, fuck the Lanzaret. Just kill them all. Send out a radio saying, oh, like Genghis Khan, submit or die. You know, because that could have made sense. You know, because you can really say fuck it if you think about it. I got these like literally millions of warriors. Like, because one of the funniest things from the books is like these are millions of warriors. Like they're like the average Fremen like person is stronger than Seduka.
Yeah.
And they had
remember Gurney said, you have 200 men? Yeah. You know what you can do with 200? You can take control of this planet. But then they have millions.
Yeah. Like literally tens of millions of warriors. And like even the girls, even the ladies are warriors. So
they're like ninjas basically.
Yeah. So like I thought that was funny. Now that you mention it, it could just like say fuck it. Who needs the Shaddam Empire? I can make a new one called Atreides. But but the very theme of the movie is, you know, because if you think about it, if it was Feyd-Rautha who became Khazar Haderach, you know, how worse would it be, right? Because I think one of the themes of the Dune series is, you know, what you think is a bad situation, there's always something that is worse that's possible. And when Uytan said like, if he knows every future, because he knows every future, he makes this choice, and people question his choice. But
they haven't seen the
other
option.
So he has this incredible pain where, like, he's literally doing the best he can, but people don't understand. It's like that Greek prophet where, please don't do this, but they don't understand, and then it happens anyway. And so it's a great sadness is coming here. So think of opposite of Star Wars, where no one gets medals and no one is thanked for their service, and everybody dies. Yes, that's the thing this is going for.
Oh, and I also love the part where after drinking that worm juice, Paul basically approaches the people of the South as like a messiah figure. Yeah. And I love his decorum and everything, because he's basically walking and talking like a messiah. Yeah. Which is pretty funny.
Oh, but hats off to the actor though, because Timothée Chalamet, like, because if you watch the first one, he plays the boy so well. But when he went out to the cliff and said, "Warriors!"
It's like a war cry.
He was like I gotta be honest, like I think he should be nominated for like the highest like acting award, because like he sold me on the boy becoming a man, and it was because he looks boyish, right? But because I think he's really good at the enunciating voice thing. Like he totally sold me on like, you idiot! Do I break a knife before a fight? and then like I totally sold him as like the Emir or the Sultan, because like this is like, shut the fuck up! Let's go, bitches!
Who can defeat me here? And they all like come up with the shank.
No, but he was just like, fuck, like he does the 50 Cent thing, fuck everybody, and then get their attention, and then they're like, who the fuck do you think you are? And then he uses
Like,
his charisma.
Yeah, and your grandmother and blah 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 blah.
You know, like, see, that's why this is Dune is such a nuanced and complex book and movie, is because if you change that music a little, it just becomes terrifying. He just mobilized the universe's deadliest force, and then once they know that this is the Messiah, they're gonna start jihad, and that's why I love, actually, because like Chani behaving that way is not in the books at all. Like Chani saying, "This is how they enslaved us."
that was pretty funny. Like Gurney, like pulling her back. It's like, sit down.
No, but that was such an explicit explanation of the. Because one of the things I think Frank Herbert said in an interview is like, you know how we welcome tyranny ourselves? We're so willing to.
We're waiting to be led.
Yeah. Yet we strive for freedom at the same time. That's the whole theme of the Dune series, by the way. And so I thought that I liked how. And it was obvious to me that Denis wanted a third movie. When he made this film, he was just basically, I think, thinking about the third movie.
Yeah.
And
I heard that he is planning on a third movie, but much, much, much later.
Yeah, I think maybe he's doing that to get, because we're not sure if the studio said okay, right? So,
man, with the success like this,
You think so?
I bet they're begging him to make the next one.
yeah. One of my favorite scene was actually, my favorite scene was when Feyd-Rautha, after he kills the gladiator, he jumps in his uncle taking a bath and says, "I'll fucking kill you." And then like Baron Harkonnen is like, "Oh, why not wait for you to become emperor?" And like I like how like dirty they are. Like, "I'll make you emperor. How about that?" "All right, fucking old man, I'll still kill you later." And then like it's like such a you remember that scene in the first movie? "All you ever needed to be was my son." Here's the opposite. Rabban, fuck off. You're useless. you useless. And you
brought shame to our family.
Yeah.
Man.
And I don't need you to just be my nephew. I need you to be my emperor. So it's just like different like family ethos, like Harkonnen.
You can also kind of say that it's a pure meritocracy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, basically, I can tell that they somehow symbolize capitalism.
You think so? Oh,
yeah.
maybe.
Because they're concerned about the productivity and efficiency of the harvest. That's all they care about.
I mean, their planet does look synthetic, doesn't it? Compared to Caladan, was it?
Yeah, it's very industrial.
Yeah. And I guess that kind of explains the oil bath, too, because it's like the ugly side of the melange, right? It's actually like a crude oil. And
like I said, it's meritocracy. There's no emotion to play.
No, let me ask you something. Where is this meritocracy when someone is just holding a towel and gets their get their throat slit like that?
Maybe it wasn't explained, but maybe that servant was holding the towel in the wrong angle or something.
Yeah, so that means death. Yeah, I did love the knife guy shaking his ass because.
Am I being stabbed too?
Yeah. It was so different from the way Rabban was treated. Rabban was like, but everyone's like, General, don't you need some sleep? And he does the Blade Runner thing, smashes
bang,
him.
bang, bang.
Yeah. But they're all evil in such a way. Hey, shall we give it a number score?
Oh, man. I would give it a 9.
9.
If it has like 30 extra minutes, I think it could be a 10.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. The only reason why I deducted a point is because of what I talked about. You know, like that sudden jump from Paul being, you know, like all torn up between this choice and suddenly becoming a tyrant. Yeah. That happened too quick. Yeah,
I mean, I kind of agree where the pacing after the 1 hour 30-minute mark started to get a little jumbled, right? I do. I guess Z, you haven't watched Dune Part 2, right? That's why she's silent. And then I guess she said hello to us, and then maybe we should have done a non-spoiler one for this one first. So the pacing issue, and that's actually a big fanboy thing to say, man. You actually wanted more.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been okay with more because the 3 hours, they just flew past.
I'm gonna give this a 10. because I haven't felt this rush since Dark Knight or Alien 2. Like, it's where, you know how those movies, like, for me, once I press the start button, I can't stop. It's like I felt like it was almost there. Because I remember Dark Knight, I had a problem with the ending too. When Two-Face, like Harvey Dent, suddenly becomes super evil quickly, and it did feel like that.
What matters is to be fair.
Yeah. So here, I felt like it was okay because they might do a third movie. Because, you know, explain things quickly like that. So I give it a 9.5, man. Anyway, Ichano, if you're interested in Dune, we can do another cast later on to talk about Dune, the Dune world exclusively. Maybe we should do one where we talk about Dune Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah.
Like the complete series. But anyway, guys,
that's been our take on Dune Part 2.
I'm so sorry
for the third one.
If we sounded so sycophantic. We've been praising it. I think me comparing it to Boom kind of fucking fucked up the podcast. I'm so sorry about that, guys. Like, cause I was really excited to watch.
No, I mean we got to talk about the book.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point of this.
Yeah, I wish I got to see like a girl Chucky kill fucking Sadukars, but man, that's my only like problem. I wish the baby was actually born. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back in around 3 to 5 minutes to just have a chat with y'all. Big shout out to Ichan Hyung. Thank you so much for leaving a lot of comments. We'll see you in 3 to 5 minutes. This has been JoJ Movie So Awesome. I was Joe.
I was Won-Jin.
We'll see you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Chani, I love you. Chani, please don't leave me. I can't go on without you. I need you.